challenges that come to where your awareness at this moment. I release any blocks or fears, such as the need to be heard or understood, or anything holding you back from allowing your voice to come through and be heard. I release the words suppressed, quiet, no, and any other words that have kept you from speaking your word. I give my body permission to express itself verbally using my voice. Now we are going to bring in the new programming, feeling the warmth around your throat or a tingling sensation as the new programming replaces the old programming of your original soul blueprint of sound and vibration to be present and activated in this lifetime. Repeat after me. I give myself permission.
I give myself permission
To be heard using my soul frequencies.
to be heard using my soul frequencies,
To heal any damage
to heal any damage
to my vocal cords
to my vocal cords
from any past lives,
from any past lives,
dimensions,
dimensions,
timelines or realities,
timelines, or realities,
filling my throat
filling my throat
with sacred white light,
with sacred white light,
removing all blocks and fears.
removing all blocks and fears.
I now invite all of you to repeat 3 ohms, and
Right.
each time allow the sound to continue as long as it wants and go on as deeply as it wants. Feel the vibration in your heart and in your throat. Let's begin. Breathe in. Again. And one last deep breath. And so it is. Now I know you feel the vibrations in your body at this moment because there's a healing taking place. So just allow it to settle in. And you'd be amazed. In my class, this happened, and immediately someone told me when they ran into me that week that right after the class, they walked up to someone that they have never been able to speak to because they just were uncomfortable speaking around this individual. She walked right up to the person, spoke to them, spoke her truth, and walked away. And she said it with love. And she said, I felt so good that I was able to express myself with love to this individual that I wanted to speak to for such a long time, but I had this feeling like I couldn't. So that alone was an accomplishment for her. So whatever form the healing takes place for you, if it needs to happen again, you have the meditation, you can do it in the evening. But there's other ways of opening your throat chakra. This is just one of many, and I did speak of many in my classes. So first of all, is there anyone that doesn't know what a throat chakra is? Everybody I thought would be familiar. But it is the energy center, and it's an important energy center your creativity. And without that, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to communicate with people in a loving way. So it's important to make sure that this is open. So I have in your packets also a list of 20 affirmations to raise your vibration of your throat chakra. So like I said, there's different ways of doing it, but these 20 affirmations, I've done some randomly over the years whenever I felt like I needed them the most. And so I figured I'd share them with you. I communicate with ease, my voice is heard, my truth is love, I set clear boundaries, I'm always understood. How hard is that? I'm always understood. Am I always understood? Not always. We try. But that's one thing we focus on. Vocalizing my feelings. Some people bottle up their feelings. They don't know how to express their feelings and their emotions. So it's good to be able to do that, to practice that. Speaking your truth alone is difficult, especially now when a lot of people are finding ways of doing that, of speaking their truth, because you have to. How can you not speak your truth, especially now? So, 21 signs, it's in your packet, of unhealthy throat chakra. How do you know you don't have a healthy throat chakra? I laughed when I saw this list and I read it because I had every single one. Every single one. So I pretty much nailed that. I kind of knew my throat chakra was not working. Ever since I was little, I was raised in Catholic school. So for 8 years in Catholic school, I sat in the very front. Never spoke, never said a word. The teacher thought, this girl doesn't speak. No, I was the silent little fly on the wall. And at times I do that now. When I'm not the hit of the party, and I'm very active and social with people, you'll see me being really quiet and subtle when I walk in a room. It just depends on what's going on and the energy that's going on around me. I'm an introvert and an extrovert. I'm a Leo with Scorpio rising. So I'm both. So in the summertime I party, in the wintertime I hibernate. I don't like winter. I don't like cold. But anyway, that's a little bit about me and how all this came to play on the throat chakra. I mean, if you look at this, you find it hard to express your emotions in a healthy way. I couldn't express my emotions at all. At all. I just kept it to myself. You struggle to verbalize your thoughts. I did that all the time. People would talk to me about something, they'd ask me a question or something, and I'd have to sit there and literally think about it. And I thought it was because I was bilingual. My first language is Spanish, so I have to think about it twice as hard. How am I going to respond to this? Because my initial response is in Spanish. Then I have to translate that. So that takes a little bit. And I thought it was that, but it wasn't. It was just that I had a struggle verbalizing my thoughts. You feel nervous when trying to share your opinion. Why? You don't want to be judged. That's the first thing. You don't want to be judged. Does anybody else have that problem? Yeah, it's really hard. You want to share, somebody says, so what do you think? How do I look today? Well, do you really want to know? So, to aggressively push your opinions onto others. I was guilty of that. I can honestly say I was guilty of that because I really thought I was right. And when you feel you're right, you tend to do that. Now I step back and I have to listen and go, wait a minute, no. It goes both ways. You know, everything goes both ways now. You just have to look at it. You struggle a lot with miscommunication in relationships. How many of us have had that, where you have a partner, a friend, even your family members, they're talking to you and you're like, oh yeah. And the whole time they're talking about X, Y, Z and you're talking about A, B, C. And you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. So yeah, it happens all the time, even at work, school. You constantly feel ignored or misunderstood by others. It's part of the same thing. The message is not getting there. It's not clear because we're either holding back on our truth or we're not expressing it well so that it doesn't get translated. You keep a lot of secrets from others for fear of not being accepted. Well, that is kind of the same as the other, your opinion, sharing your opinion, for fear that that person may not like you or think you're weird. You know, of course, as we say in the woo-woo community, not everybody is woo-woo. So when you try to speak your word and your truth, and they're not woo-woo, they look at you like, planets, galaxies, okay, whatever, we're on Earth. And I'm like, right on, we are. Sounds good to me. You feel anxious in conversations. Yeah, especially when you're younger and you want attention. You know, of course you grow out of a lot of this with time, with practice, but yeah, I mean, you can see yourself and situations and every single one of these points here. You tend to be over-opinionated. You struggle to have a voice of your own. You feel almost paralyzed when doing public speaking. This one makes me laugh because in school, I would never. There's no way I would stand up and talk to anybody. No way. I get to college. And my class was a communications class. And every week we had to get up in front of the class and give a presentation. And I'm like, I can't do that. The first time I sat at my desk and I stood up, and she goes, no, you have to come to the front. I'm like, She goes, yeah, you have to come to the front. So I get to the front and I'm like, she goes, okay, so what are you gonna speak about? And she coached me through the whole thing. And then when it was over, she said, you did great. Ever since then, I just get up and I just do my thing, and it just doesn't, it's not a thing anymore. But it takes that initial thing. And Cynthia did that because she doesn't like being in, you know, being in front of people is okay, but being in front of a camera is not okay. But it takes a while. It takes getting used to. So the same for you. I mean, if you're paralyzed being in front of people, talking, speaking, eventually you either grow out of it or you do it so much that it's just a thing, you don't even think about it anymore. You often enter restrictive relationships that don't allow you to voice your thoughts and feelings without getting criticized. How many of us have done that?
How many of us have
Yeah.
not done that?
Yeah. Yeah, and so this lesson came to a close with this wonderful moon. I love you. So that was still one last thing I had to conquer myself. You find it difficult to be honest with yourself and others. Your actions go against your words. And when you do this, justify yourself. Don't you find yourself justifying yourself?
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the last thing you ever need is a small child. But you said, and you're like, yeah, but that's different. How's that different? And when you hear it from a child and they catch you like that, and you're like, ooh, wait a minute. Huh, it's not different. It's not. So just remember, there's your actions and your words have to go hand in hand. If they don't, something is off. Either you're not realizing your actions, something is off. But
It reminded me of that quote from Jesus, "The house divided cannot stand." So when you are not in alignment with yourself, when you are at odds. Yeah.
that's true. And again, this is throat chakra, and I was like, wait a minute, how is that possibly throat chakra? But it is. Because you're speaking and you're acting from your thoughts and your words. You have swollen lymph nodes in your neck. Your voice frequently cracks or sounds thin. You suffer from hypothyroidism. I did. I still do. So it affects you physically when you don't speak your word, when you don't have a healthy throat chakra. Yeah. You have ear problems, premature hearing loss. I have hearing aids. So yeah, I'm telling you, all 21, right here. You develop regular sinus, throat, and respiratory infections. I did for a long time. I did, and allergies and all that. And then once I acknowledged what was going on through other methods, I start clearing a lot of that over time. So really, that's 21 signs right there. So now I have an exercise that was taught to me in Bali. 4 years ago, I went to Bali for a sound and vibrational workshop, and I was there for 10 days. And a teacher from India came over to teach this class. He's a professor in India, and this is all he does. He teaches Sanskrit, voice, and vibrations. And now there's people there from all over the world, but the common denominator is we all spoke English, which is really odd, but yeah, we all spoke English. And he gets up there and he goes, everywhere I go, and he's got that Indian accent. He goes, everywhere I go, the common denominator is English. And we all looked around and we were like, that's right, because we had people from Japan, China, we had Australia, we had European people there, and we all knew English. And that's all we spoke when we were together. But then when they were with their clusters of people, you can hear the different languages. He goes, everywhere I go, when I teach, and I've been teaching for over 30 years, is English. So I found something that I can teach in English. And we were like, okay, because I didn't go there to learn another language, but anyway. He goes, when you were in kindergarten and you took music lessons, how many of you learned do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do? And that's what was taught to you. That's what was taught, that's what you did, and it was okay, it was a thing, right? It was a program. That